right, abrupt intro ending. Welcome in, John Cast Podcast, episode number 86. Brought to you as always by Ian's Pizza, with 3 locations in Madison and 3 locations in Milwaukee. They're in Seattle. They're in Denver. They've always got like limited slices of like whatever they create basically for that week's special, that month special. I had the chicken and waffles a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic. You just got to stop by because they're always changing up slices. You can always go with the classics, don't get me wrong, but Ian's Pizza with 3 locations. We're working on our next promotion, so stay tuned for that. Check out johncastpodcast.com. You can go listen to past episodes, including conversations I've had recently with the Sportscaster of the Year in Wisconsin, Sophia Minert of Valley Sports Wisconsin. Just had Carter Booth. She's a transfer volleyball player for the Badgers. Also Kelly Sheffield, the head coach of the Badgers. So we've got all those latest podcasts there for you, johncastpodcast.com. Rate and review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to this one, and a rate and review is greatly appreciated. Well, today's guest is quickly becoming a fan favorite in Madison on the basketball court. His three-point shooting and his ability to provide a spark for the team is really getting Wisconsin fans excited for this team and for this team's future. So I'd like to welcome Wisconsin Badger basketball player Connor Essegian to the John Cast Podcast. What's going on, Connor?
What's up? What's up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, man, I really appreciate you jumping on the podcast and taking some time to talk with me. So what you been up to lately?
School just started. Just basketball, really. I mean, just normal college athlete life.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically been it. Yeah.
Yeah. Basketball, obviously a big part of your life. What is your first basketball memory?
Ooh. I know there's pictures of me younger that I don't remember, but for me, my first actual real memory that, that's kind of been one of my, favorites.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting started, I would say. Really, I'd say 7th grade, there was a big moment. We were playing one of our toughest opponents in middle school, and it was a tie game, and came down and hit a game-winning shot. It was my first game-winning shot of my career. And so that was kind of really, I would say, kind of like a spark plug too, to kind of just basketball in general for me.
Where was it? Where did you hit it on the court? Was it a 3? Was it a 2?
It was like a little step back, mid-range, right at like the right elbow. Yeah.
Was it just probably just a natural reaction? I've always thought, like, obviously I don't have the skill you have, obviously, but growing up, you hit the game winners in your backyard or whatever. Like, what was your reaction? I always like to think I'd do the Jordan fist pump, but I mean, what was your reaction when you hit it?
I was a little young to do the Jordan fist pump. I didn't quite know what that was yet. But honestly, it was just like, well, there was still time on the clock too.
Okay.
Probably around 2-3 seconds. So luckily there was a timeout, but at that point I think I was just like, oh my gosh, I just hit the shot. Like, what? At the time, I mean, I was still in middle school too, so I didn't really have any crazy celebrations or anything like that yet. But so it was really just kind of being in the moment, living it up.
Yeah. Which players did you idolize growing up?
So I'm kind of a big Kobe fan too, with that. But for me, I really model and try to model my game after Tyler Hero. Yeah, he's kind of just been. I've always watched his high school highlights when those were coming out on Ball's Life, YouTube in general. That would kind of be like one of my game day routines. Actually, would be watching some of his videos.
Some of the, when I first saw you on the scene with Wisconsin basketball this season, it's funny you mentioned Tyler Hero. The first player that popped in my head was, oh my gosh, this guy's like Tyler Hero a little bit. So that's definitely, on the court, you can see that. You can see that kind of that attitude in that game of Tyler. And, you mentioned Kobe. Man, I came across a Kobe video on Instagram a while back, and it was so cool. He was talking about how kids expect like a quantum leap in their skill set. And he said, here, I brought the quote out. He said, that's not how it works. It's step by step, one foot in front of the other, day by day, get better every single day. And when you look back, you look down at the mountain you just scaled. Does that kind of ring true for you as far as your mindset for basketball? Because I think a lot of times people just want everything. They want it right now, and they forget that there's a process, and it takes a long time. But when you look back after months, after years, you can see just how much you progressed.
Yeah, my process has not been easy. It's been a long journey. I know, even just for me shooting the basketball, I used to be terrible. That was low key at one point probably the worst part of my game. with just being able to shoot the ball. And yeah, it's been, I mean, just countless hours. I mean, every day, middle school and high school, I'd get up at least 1,000 shots on the gun just to kind of progress. And it takes a lot. I mean, you got to have, the mentality for it, to keep that. That's kind of one of my things too with Kobe, was just his mentality. I mean, the Kobe mentality is a thing for a reason. And, I kind of always put that into my life and into basketball. But if you want to, if you want to make big strides and get a lot better and become great, it takes a long time. Nothing's going to happen overnight.
Do you still take 1,000 shots a day?
It's a little harder to do that in college right now.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more wear in your body in college, but I do try and get them in as much as I can.
Yeah. I don't even, how long does 1,000 shots take? I have no clue. I have no idea.
Having a shooting gun is real nice. It makes it pretty quick.
Okay.
I'd say pretty quick, but usually it takes around just under an hour. I'd say 45 to an hour, depending on how often I stop in between shots or whatever.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad, I guess, if you have the right process for it. Did you look up to any Wisconsin Badger basketball players? Did you kind of have some favorite Badger basketball players?
So I actually grew up a Michigan fan.
Oh, okay. Well, this was a really fun
mom,
podcast, Connor. I appreciate your time.
I know, I knew that might be a little controversial, but my mom's family is all from Michigan. So
Okay.
early age, she kind of embedded that into my brain, and as soon as I made the decision to come here, that kind of just came right out the ear and was gone. Yeah.
Okay. Because you wear the number of a Wisconsin Badger basketball player who is pretty dang clutch in his time at Wisconsin. And I'm talking about Zach Showalter. I don't know if you've ever seen any Zach Showalter highlights. Have you?
I've seen a couple for sure.
Okay, let's watch one together right now. So let's take you back to the NCAA tournament. I remember watching this game. It was insane. Zach Showalter against, now the ending didn't turn out for Wisconsin, but have you seen this highlight I'm about to show you against Florida? You know what I'm talking about?
I have.
Yeah.
Nigel Hayes.
So here is
Florida doesn't foul in these situations. They switch everything. Showalter.
And he does the belt.
My goodness.
Insane.
Just lowers his head. You can watch on Spotify or YouTube if you're watching this with us, by the way. And then he does this iconic thing in Badger lore. There it is. He does the Aaron Rodgers championship celebration. I mean, that was pretty clutch. That's the number 3. I mean, those moments in the tournament, is that something you just can't, like, do you think about that? Like being in the tournament, and obviously having a moment like that is storybook, but just being in the tournament?
That's been a dream of mine since, I could even pick up a basketball or even knew what March Madness and college basketball was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was me and my mom and my family's biggest thing, growing up. We loved watching the tournament. We would wait every year just for the excitement and the energy that tournament bring to the country. I mean, it's unbelievable. So for me, I'm definitely excited to be able to be a part of that and be in some of those moments. Yeah, throughout my career here. I'm really excited for that.
You mentioned your family, your mother, and growing up a Michigan fan and everything. How competitive is your family? Because I thought I read somewhere that your family, or maybe I heard you on another podcast, maybe the one with Sam Decker, that your family gets really competitive.
Yeah, we butt heads a lot. I know me and my brother do too. I mean, so my brother's a junior in high school,
Okay.
Sam, and we would always be competing in everything we do. I mean, we'd compete for first shower getting home after we would go to the gym. I mean, it was literally anything. But I mean, I get it from, my parents. My parents were athletes growing up too. So it kind of just has been in my brain naturally, and we just kind of always been that way.
Do you guys ever have game nights? Because I can just imagine like a family game night, like a game of Uno or a board game or something. That must be insanely fun.
Sorry was kind of one of our big games, and
okay,
it would get pretty intense. There'd be some player key things getting thrown around all over, and it got pretty intense.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Badger fans get to watch you play on the court. And we talked about, how your shot wasn't always there and you had to put a lot of work into that. But we see you on the court for just a couple of hours, a couple of times per week, something like that. Can you take my listeners behind the scenes on the amount of time that you put into into the gym, into the weight room, all that. And I'm not even talking about classes at this point, but I would imagine the life of a student athlete and you just trying to get better and better. Like, how much time are you in the gym? How much time are you in the weight room? What's a typical day like for you?
Yeah, it really just depends. Kind of with classes starting up, it's a little different.
Sure.
And I'm just getting used to the new schedule too, a semester just getting started. But I mean, usually you're leaving the house or not house for me, dorm, sorry.
Yeah.
But so leaving here and you don't get back till later. Like I'd say you're probably leaving around. I know I have some classes at like 8:50 almost every morning. So getting up and going to class and then getting back. I mean, it usually I don't come back till usually I eat dinner. So we're gone for quite some time, and it's lifting, it's with the team, it's getting extra shots up. I mean, it's a lot that really goes into it, more than people see outside the scenes.
Yeah, I would think that's it. Like, people don't, I think sometimes fans don't realize that just how much. Have you felt a lot of pressure being a student athlete? Because it's not just basketball. It's like you said, new class schedule coming out. It's trying to stay on top of classes too. And by the way, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's also like all this NIL stuff that you get to embrace now as well as a student athlete.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just, it's a whole new world for me. It's a lot different than high school being a student athlete. The demands are a lot higher here. I mean, you're here and it can be taken from you at any moment. So, the finding the right balance is key here. Academics, Wisconsin is a great academic school, really high and known for that. So, I mean, that adds a whole new element to being a student athlete as well. I mean, balancing is key. If you can't balance, then everything could fall apart pretty easily.
You've been able to get into the starting lineup now for the Badgers, the first starts of your college career. What does it mean for you to get into the starting five? Is it a big deal, or do you look at that as, hey, if I'm on the court, whether it's off the bench or at the beginning, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I just want to be able to, help the team win.
Okay.
Whether it was, coming off the bench, being six man, even having other guys coming before me off the bench, I wasn't too worried about it. But I mean, being starting, that was always kind of a dream of mine to be in that position. But, whether, if I keep starting the rest of the season or if I get put back, to come in off the bench, I'm good with whatever, as long as, we start finding ways to win.
Yeah. So when Wisconsin is winning and it's playing its best, what is happening on the court? What should fans be looking for in when Wisconsin's playing at its best? What's happening?
You can just, see how close we are as a team. I mean, I feel like this is the closest team I've ever been on. I mean, top to bottom. I mean, every guy is close with each other, and there's not really a separation between anyone. And so I feel like when we're really clicking, you can really see, kind of the connections that we all have and the bonds that we've created. And you can just see each other picking each other up and the energy, from 1 through 5, all the way through the bench, people who don't even dress. I mean, it's everyone who really contributes in somewhere with one another. So yeah.
All right. So you got to talk to me a little bit about the life of a student athlete in the NIL world now, right? Because your name, image, likeness, you're able to capitalize on that. And let me see if I can share this as well. Once again, if you're watching on Spotify or if you catch this on YouTube, you've got some merch out. Let's take a look at the merch. This is off your Twitter account, off the barstoolsports.com collection. Tell me about the CE3 merch. How'd this come about?
Man, so when we were in the Bahamas playing, I mean, I kind of started to play pretty well over there, and I know our Badger men's basketball Twitter page and Instagram were just like, we need a nickname for this kid. Like, what do you guys got? And I was looking through the comments, and I was getting messages and tags and all this with so many different things, and I didn't know what to pick at first. And then there was at one point in one of our home games, I just heard after I hit a three, I heard CE3.
Yeah.
I heard it, and I was like, it does have a little ring to it. So, and obviously, the three ball, I feel like that's what I'm pretty well known for at this point in my career. So I feel like it kind of fell hand in hand, and I kind of liked it, and it stuck a little bit.
That's awesome. Okay, here's what I'm going to do for people listening to this podcast. Go to my Twitter at John Arias Radio. That's JONARIAS. The link to when I post this episode, I'll have a tweet out about it. In the comments, you post the player that Connor grew up idolizing, either one of them, the two we mentioned, and you tag a friend, and I'm going to buy somebody a CE3 shirt, t-shirt. Okay. So you can go comment on Twitter, because this is so cool. What else is you got planned for merch?
I'm trying to not worry about it too much right now. We kind of got to
Okay.
get back on this winning thing first before that even, comes into my mind. But there will be some more things in the future, but I'm just gonna let that come naturally and not really worry about it too much. But there will be some things coming
Is
eventually.
is social media going to kind of, I mean, I know you're big into social media too. You got a huge TikTok following. What's it like for you to be able to interact with people on social media like that?
It just kind of brings a whole different, view to the game, and being able to interact with people that you normally wouldn't be able to. Only 17,000 people can come to our game, if that, and it's a way for me to be able to connect to people, that I wouldn't normally get to see, or people, and I appreciate everyone who supports me. So for me, being able to just send a small message, or I do cameos too, or anything like that. Like I literally just did this kid DM'd me and asked me if I could make a video making a shot, and if I made the shot, his girlfriend had to go to formal with him. So it's like little things like that. I mean, it's just there's small things that it allows me to connect with people who support me, and I really am taking all opportunities I can.
That's awesome. So what's your that's really, and you made the shot, right? I mean,
I did. I
okay.
did make the shot. He doesn't need to know it took a couple tries though.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, we can edit that, which something you're very passionate about is editing. What
There we
got you into
go.
like this passion of video editing?
Yeah, so I kind of always had a little interest in it. Back when Vine was a thing, I was
Yeah,
always watching like the best sports vines or whatever, and just seeing like the cool edits and the music and stuff. And I would always try and mess around a little bit with it on my phone, but I wasn't great at all with it. And my dad had a camera too, and he would record our high school team and make little videos for me, or for our team, like hype things. And it kind of gave me a little interest in it too, because I would go home and I would see him working on it behind the computer, and watch him edit, and try and get a little things down just to help him with videos too.
yeah,
And I was just like, one day I was like, let me see the camera, let me try something out. And so I started working a little bit, and then I kind of took it off a little bit. And a lot of the stuff I post, or videos, or things that I make myself.
yeah. So so you're making your videos and you're editing your videos. How do you come up with like the idea for what you're going, like the content, I guess is lack of a better term. Like, where does that come from? Do you just like have a notepad in your iPhone or whatever, note file, and you just type down anytime you have an idea for something to do, or how does that work?
A little bit, but mostly it's just like if I just have something like like an idea just come to my head, I'm like, let's do it. Let's get
Let's
on it
go
real
do it.
quick. Let's make the video, like put it in my draft so I want to post it later. But usually it's just anything that comes to mind, really. I'm just trying to get it done so I don't forget about it.
Right. You should start a note, the notes app on your iPhone. You should start jotting those down so you don't forget them, man. That'd be.
I
Did you get
know.
any
I
tips?
need to do
Because
something.
yeah, did you get any tips from when Tristan Jass visited earlier this season? He filmed a video for YouTube. He's a guy from Wisconsin, into basketball, does some basketball stuff. Number one, what was that experience like? And did you kind of pick his brain as far as that side of social media?
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that kind of happened. We knew he was going to come in and help promote the Bruce City Battle for us. And once I heard that, I kind of reached out to him on Instagram, and I just hit him with a DM like, "Yo, I know you got a huge following. Like, I'm into social media too. Like, I'd love to make some content with you when you come down here for a couple of days. Take
Yeah,
opportunity while you're here." And he hit me back pretty quick actually, and said he'd love to make some content. And he came and he made a video himself. He did a video like what it's like to be a Division I recruit. So he basically acted like a recruit. I was like his tour guide.
yeah,
We did like a crazy trick shot video, tried to do what he could do, which is tough. What he does is insane. I understand why he has millions of followers now. Um, but it was just cool to just like pick his brain a little bit, and how the social media works. And I know there'll be some other things too coming in the future where we want to be able to connect some more, and get him here, and I'll go there, and we can just work together on some things.
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's a ball, like he can play, like,
He can
and those.
hoop, yeah.
Yeah, he's really, you can tell. I mean, and those, like, he goes between the legs twice and does a layup. Like, that's hard to do.
It's insane. I don't think I'm coordinated enough to do it just standing here.
No, not at all. So I watched that video. I thought it was really, really well done. So you can go check out, that's Tristan Jass for those who don't know, on YouTube, and go find the time when he came to Madison. All right. Random question time as I wrap up the podcast here with you, Connor. Okay. And this might be a no-brainer for you. Best social media app.
Ooh. That's kind of tough because I
Okay.
use two pretty like a pretty even amount. I'm gonna say Instagram though. Instagram's probably my top one, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, they added like the real thing, which is kind of like what TikTok is. So I kind of get the best of both worlds kind of in one. And honestly, that's where I connect with more people on is Instagram.
Yeah. And basically all the TikToks, all the good TikToks will filter down to Instagram. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, eventually you see them on TikTok and you're like, oh wait, that was just on there, and it's just it just kind
yeah.
of meshes together now.
Okay. So what's the connection to Robin Yount?
So that is my grandpa's cousin,
Grandpa's cousin.
basically. So I have never met him. I would love to meet him, but that's something I'd like to do. And it was really cool, kind of being in the locker room and seeing his jersey hung up and his appreciation that the Brewers have for him. And a lot of people like Coach Guard. When he found out I was related to him, he was like, "You related to this guy?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "It's pretty cool." And I was like, "I know. I really had no idea." Until it was a couple years ago when I kind of realized that.
Yeah, that's all-time MLB greats. Forget Brewers great, which he is. I mean, he's an all-timer. I mean, that's amazing. How big of a baseball fan are you?
Baseball actually, was kind of my sport growing up until I made the decision to focus on basketball.
Okay.
We were going to Cooperstown. That was a big tournament, for a lot of teams every year, and we went down there and did really well. And I was loving it. And then, honestly, I thought I was better at baseball than basketball.
Okay.
Before I kind of made the decision. My dad was also one of my coaches growing up too. So we had that bond and that kind of helped drive me a little bit to want to play baseball too. But, I just had a passion for basketball that, I couldn't hide. I really just wanted to play basketball for as long as I possibly could.
Favorite MLB player was who?
Ooh, so obviously my mom side from Michigan, I was a huge Justin Verlander guy when he was on Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. Favorite NBA team?
Ooh, I might get hate for this, but I don't really have any specific teams. I kind of just like to just enjoy it, and I just follow players really.
Okay. Favorite player, current player?
Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero. Okay.
Yep, my guy.
Yep. A couple more for you. Best TV streaming service?
Ooh, I really don't watch, I don't really get much time to sit around and watch that other than, when we turn on, obviously the NFL games and stuff are going on or other college games. I guess I'll get on Netflix every once in a while.
Okay.
It happens I'm not going to say I do it all the time, but every once in a while I'll hop on a little bit.
Okay. Okay, cool. Final one for you. You got to pick one. Would you rather have a behind the back assist or a fast break dunk?
Ooh, I guess it depends on who finishes it. If we
Okay.
got a dunk with the behind the back, I'm gonna say the pass. But
Okay.
I think a good dunk is that's a pretty good energizer. I know that would get me hyped, but so I'm gonna say the dunk.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the dunk. Yep.
I mean, I was going to include in that question something about a 3-point shot, but I thought you'd probably pick like a 3-point shot over anything, right? Maybe not.
I don't get to dunk too many times, so I might take advantage on dunking every once in a while.
Yeah. We saw that one at Iowa. That was pretty fun.
Yep, it was good. So it was fun. It was fun to finally get my first one.
Final question. I have another question for you because when I searched your name on Google and I'm looking for YouTube videos, one of them that comes up has "This kid has Larry Bird energy." Have you seen this? I just thought that title was like so awesome. Do you feel like you have Larry Bird energy?
I questioned it at first a little bit.
Okay.
I know he was a pretty solid competitor. He got after it. So I'd say I got a little bit of that in me. I'm not quite sure where he got the Larry Bird from, other than maybe the shooting part. But I have seen that video. It's a pretty good video.
Well, the Indiana connection too, I guess, is kind of there,
connection.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Connor, I really appreciate you taking some time, man, and talking to me about this season, talking to me about, just you as a basketball player. That's awesome. And once again, name Connor's favorite NBA players, one of the two we talked about today. Drop it in the comments on Twitter when I post this, and tag somebody also in that Twitter comment, and I'll hook you up. I'll buy one of those CE3 shirts, and we'll get you one of those, and we'll be looking for more. And once the season's over, get back to the name, image, likeness stuff. All right, because we want to see this team in the tournament. Gotcha. We want to see you hitting some threes and living that dream, man, of playing in March Madness. So best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. That's Connor Essegian here on the John Cast podcast. That's awesome, man. I've been wanting to talk to him for a while, and I love his demeanor in the court. It's funny he said Tyler Hero, because that's like the first, when I saw him, like, dude looks like Tyler Hero. So Connor Essegian, once again, you can go check out all his merch, and he's on all the social media, on Twitter at SE Essegian. You can check him out on TikTok, on Instagram, where he's big too. And once again, I'll buy somebody one of those CE3 shirts. Thank you for listening to the John Cast podcast. Check out Ian's Pizza, 3 locations in Madison, 3 in Milwaukee as well. Ian's Pizza, go check them out. Proud sponsor of this show, johncastpodcast.com. If you want to go there, I have some t-shirts too you can buy there as well. And don't forget to rate and review this on Apple and or Spotify. Those really help. I really do appreciate a rate and review. It takes like 20 seconds. Just go do it, please. Thank you. All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of the John Cast podcast. See ya.